Hey everybody! How we all doing? Thanks for joining us tonight. We have a star-studded cast, hanging out in the Smirky studio, which of course is all over the world. so, I'm Curt Covert. I'm the owner of Smirk and Dagger Games. I'm joined by Jonathan and Melody, instigators and family from conventions. I'm sure you've seen their faces many times. And of course, we have David and Travis of Winsmith Games. And that's really why we're here, because obviously we've got Adventure Party running right now on Kickstarter. Some of you who are tuning in, I imagine, have already, kind of like checked it out and getting excited about it. But we're going to get a little bit deeper tonight. We're going to talk about some of the beginnings of the game, what Winsmith is all about, and then also the journey of where this game has been, where it's going, and then we're going to play a little bit of Adventure Party right here with us. So and as the audience, you are going to have a chance to play with us, right? You're going to get a chance to guess as we also go. I see we have Eric out there. Eric, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. As other people kind of pop into the window, go ahead and say hello, and we'll give you a shout out here. So in any case, let's see. So, guys, I guess I want to start with kind of the low hanging fruit. It's the question that gets asked of all of us all the time. When did you get hit by the hobby gaming bug, and what game was it?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Go ahead.
It is, right? It's a tough one for me too, because we get exposed to so many games. You're like, I love them all, but obviously we all played Monopoly back in the day. We're talking about the pivotal game. You're like, oh my god, I have discovered a new hobby as an adult. Hey Cam, how are you?
You want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Dave. Yep.
Mine's really pre-college and post-college.
Yeah.
Pre-college, I grew up playing Pokemon, the TCG, Magic with Travis. I'm an avid D&D player for 20 plus years. So growing up, since 6th grade, I've played tons of hobby games. But after college, I started getting back into board games and hobby board games. And I don't remember this first one that really kicked it off for me, but my first Kickstarter I backed was Myth.
Oh, okay.
Which was a really fun deck building dungeon builder or dungeon crawler. And that's the one that once I played that, I was like, wow, there's so much here. This is surely the only crazy awesome game like this. But apparently there's a lot more. So
yeah.
So Dave and I have known each other since 6th grade in middle school. And so we played a lot of games together, starting with card games, I think mostly. I wasn't as much of a role player as Dave was during high school. But then the hobby game, kind of similar. I don't remember what the first Kickstarter I backed, but I know the games that I got hooked on the most early were games like Werewolf, games that were social deduction games. Those are probably my favorite type of games to play. So once I started getting playing Werewolf and then go into Ultimate Werewolf, Mafia, just those flavor games.
Yeah.
And then I started really liking bigger games that have negotiation in them. So I play a lot of negotiation games. I just played a 5-hour game of John Company last weekend, which is a Cole Wehrle game.
Wow.
About running the British East India Company in the 1700s. And it's a really cool game, but I like those kind of big games like that. So then I just, just any game. The only ones I usually don't like, to be completely honest, are the ones that are huge miniature games. I was never got into the big miniature games where it's the tactical movement type of games, but I will pretty much I'll probably play it, but I will pretty much play
not your go-to thing. Yeah. Melody, what about you?
I want to say it would have been right after I got back I lived abroad for a couple of years, and I got back to the States and didn't have any friends, and some friends from high school were like, come play with us. And it so surprising but not surprising probably would have been like Hex.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
Awesome.
For Dave and Travis, we just made Behexed based on Hex, but that would have been my first like real intro into like other games that weren't the games that I super grew up on.
Yeah.
So it was like that would definitely be part of that entire zeitgeist.
Yeah. And viewers, by the way, if you want to shout out in the comments what your pivotal entry point into the hobby was, I'd love to see what you guys are thinking about in terms of the games that kind of like got you here. Jonathan, what's up?
So talking about me, it's games forever, right? Like my family has a history of just playing card games and, that kind of thing, like euchre and cutthroat or cribbage and that kind of thing. And I've been an RPG player designer for too long now, and got to know Curt and really kind of being adjacent to all the board games got me into playing more board games. Like my personal favorite one that I think kind of solidifies it for me is going to be strange for people who know me and what I'm like, is actually Empire Builder. Because it's got such fond memories of playing with friends. Like we would play like 4 games in a row and be up to like 3 o'clock in the morning and trying to calculate, wait, is that 10 or 12? Because you're just like in hour 5 doing all that math. But it's just got such a warm spot in my heart for the people. And that's really what it is for me. It's always the people in the community and the stories we get to tell. It's like, I like everything. I approach it through an RPG lens. It's the stories I get to tell around the games that almost make the games more for me. Like my favorite example is we play tested someone's game and we're playing it and we're all playing goblins racing toboggans down, and Curt slams a card down that says mine and switches hands with someone, and he had no cards in his hand and the other person had a full mid of cards, so he changes it. I turn around and I look at it, I slap down a card and go, me too, and I swap my no hand with Curt's now full hand of cards. So stories like that is what always keeps me back into, which is why I'm in love with Adventure Party. Right, because it's like a fun merge of the two things I love, which is storytelling and group games kind of thing, and party games like this. So absolutely, I love it. I think it's fantastic. Yeah. So I'm going to throw a question out then. What is where did that come from? Right, because it's one of those ideas. When I first heard it, I'm like, I'm upset because it's such a straightforward. Like you would think this had been done like this before. Yeah, and you start thinking, you're like, no. Why did I? This is brilliant. So where did that kernel of the idea come from, and how did it come together?
We've gotten that comment so many times, by the way. Like, I can't believe this wasn't done before. Curt, actually, I remember saying it. I can't believe this wasn't done.
That was my first reaction. Yeah. Well, and actually, before you answer the question, I'm going to go ahead and, for people who have not heard really much about Adventure Party, I'm just going to kind of top line it for people. Before I do, I'm going to just say, hey, Daniel, good to see you out there. He says he's really looking forward to Adventure Party. And Eric, by the way, Risk, Shogun, and Talisman. Talisman was actually something that popped in my gamer life as well. So, man, it's amazing how many hours you can just spend going around that board. So for people who have not heard about Adventure Party yet, this is a wild game because it is a beautiful blend of a party weight guessing game and a role-playing adventure. It's a pretty robust role-playing experience. And you're like, those things don't work in my brain when you say those words. Like, what does that mean? In fact, when you guys pitched to me, you're like, hey, listen, we got a party game. It's like, I'm not sure if really I'm in a party game kind of way. It's like, yeah, but this is really different. And I'm like, oh, all right, show me different. And you totally did. But I mean, the beauty of this game is, you set up an adventure hook. You roll a die in secret and you describe both your plan and then what happens to you based on your roll. And they have to guess what you rolled based on your tale. And it's just a brilliant idea. And yes, so to Jonathan's point, how did you get there? Like, what was the inspiration?
Well, the inspiration one was, again, I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. I'm in 2 campaigns, one with a group that I've been playing with again for 20 years. And we have it on our schedule to play every Tuesday, but we cancel probably 2 or 3 times a month. And there's one night.
Everyone does.
So, there was one night where I remember I've always wanted to design a party game, or we've always wanted to do a party game. And I don't know, I've always actually found them kind of difficult to design, because I think that they have to be so tightly designed, right, and accessible and simple. And I just remember sitting down and be like, how can I turn D&D into a party game? And so I started thinking about, what's the normal game loop of D&D? Well, you roll a D20 and then you describe something. And I think that it just, something clicked at one point. It's like, well, just flip that on its head. Someone describe, someone guess what you rolled. And then I remember talking with Travis, and after just thinking it through and just jotting down ideas, and we kind of dug into it a little deeper, and there was something there.
Oh, that's brilliant. It's crazy. But again, the fact that no one had thought about doing it before, with, I mean, how many years has D&D been out? How many different games around, dungeoning have there been? And no one has gone there before. It's quite something. Holly, good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Right. So, well, now obviously this was not your first game, though, I believe. So when did you actually start designing, and what was that first game?
The first game we published, or the first game that was designed? Because those are very different.
I absolutely understand. I did 3 games and threw them away before I got anywhere. But no, I mean, like, your first real baby.
Well, the first game I ever designed was, like I said, the first Kickstarter back was a dungeon crawler.
Okay.
And it was great, but I was like, it didn't hit exactly what I wanted. So I started looking at other dungeon crawlers, and then I thought, okay, well, I can't find the exact game I want, so why don't I just design it?
Yeah.
Think of it as a much worse version of Gloomhaven, which I've heard a lot of designers say their first design was like this massive dungeon crawler with unlockable characters and, huge narrative. And I mean, it was the hundreds of hours I put into that, but that was like right when I started. And so that was the first one. We started working on a few short, thereafter. One that mimicked going to a convention called GameCon. We had a few others, and then eventually we, started talking about doing a business together. And then our first published game is 10 Gallon Tank.
Right. Okay. And so when did you actually open Winsmith Games?
It was back in 2017. Okay. So kind of interestingly, both Dave and I are in the same engineering. Well, we're in engineering, but different fields. And both of us have always told each other, yeah, I'd really like to start a business one day. And so we kind of were just talking, and like, we both share a hobby of like gaming. And with that first design, we just started kind of talking about it and just said, hey, this kind of like scratches the itch of like being an entrepreneur and having that feel of it, but then doing something that you really enjoy. And so I think it was in 2017 when we actually formed Winsmith Games, which at that point was literally just an idea. There was no product there. So it took us a few years, and we did a lot of going to unpubs and going to Gen Con first exposures and just like trying out different things. And we actually have a really, really fun game that is 100% complete, I would say, without like expansions. That's just a huge game that we don't think we could have produced as like our first game. So we kind of said, okay, well, we have a couple ideas, and this other one, 10 Gallon Tank, is a very small card game. So there's very little opportunity to screw up majorly. And that was actually a real concern for us. Like, we don't know anything about like contacting publishers in China and like logistics and everything. So it was like, well, how much could we screw up like a card game, an 80 card game? And we
The
actually
answer is a lot, but
we actually did make a mistake in that campaign, and that was we were talking to some folks and said, "Oh, you should provide custom sleeves. One, because your margin is good, it's low cost, and you can sell them for a higher cost." But anyway, so we were like, "Okay, we should do that as an add-on," and we actually misplaced a 0 in the minimum order quantity. So we thought 5,000 sleeves was the minimum, but 50,000 was the minimum. So I mean. But luckily, that was only like $1,000 mistake. And that's something that we could absorb and learn a lesson to make sure that you don't make any of those mistakes anymore. So we started with a very small card game. And then our next game, which is coming out, it's actually on the water right now, coming to America to fulfill, is a like tile laying game. So it's a little more chunkier. It's got some like Tetris style pieces to it, but sort of just building up to where we have a good idea of what we like, knowing what we didn't know before.
Cool. What's the name of that one?
Junk drawer. It is about your
course.
favorite hobby of organizing your junk in your junk drawer.
I actually remember playing that with you in Prototype. Now you mention it, that was a great fun game. I can't wait for that to come on.
Thank you.
Well, so probably the question that people then are thinking is, well, so you're accompanying your own right, and so let's talk about how do we take the journey in partnering on this for Adventure Party. Let's talk about the how and the why all that came about.
So we've been working on it. I mean, obviously when you played it, we had already been working on it for about a year, and we knew that there was something there. We'd played with some folks just out, not just friends and family, and so we knew there was something there. But we also felt like this is a game that could really have some legs to it, and that it was also a game that we realized would have a decent amount of art assets. And we know just from our limited experience that art's not cheap. And so one of the things that we discussed was, do we want to self-publish this? Do we not want to self-publish this? And so it really boiled down to, and it was actually kind of a tough decision. We went back and forth on this a lot, but it boiled down to, ultimately, we kind of want the game to do as well as it can do. And so we felt like another publisher who's experienced is going to have connections and be able to elevate the game more than we probably could ourselves as a small indie publisher. And so I think that was ultimately the biggest decision, was we want the game to really do well and shine. Right, Travis? Did I kind of hit it on the head?
No, go ahead, Jonathan. Yep.
I was going to say, just to hop in, and I know it's inside, and I'm a completely biased person, but I think it's great working with Curt, because every person I talk to, one of the things they always say about all the games published with Curt is they always look fantastic. They're always really beautiful, and that is, if you're looking for someone to take your game and be like, we need to make sure it hits this aesthetic that we want, Curt is a fantastic person to do that with.
Well,
that was honestly kind. Go ahead, sorry, Curt.
No, I was
going to say that was honestly one reason why we had talked about like the self-publishing route, and then we had talked with Curt a lot, and just our conversations, Curt, with you, and I think we mentioned it to you, were just like how passionate you were about the game. I know for a fact that not every pitch to a publisher gets that kind of a reaction, and so the amount of effort that you put into it before we even had a deal. I recall you driving across the country and calling us and be like, hey guys, just had a couple ideas. If we don't have a deal, you can steal these. I don't care. I just love the game and I want to help it become a reality. And that was like, honestly, really sold us. Like, it's something that you can tell when someone's passionate about something and will put everything that they have into it. And for us, like, and all the other games that you've already made before, that was like a big thing for us.
Well, and Melody will know this too. Like, I ended up trotting your game out in various different prototype versions of it, like wherever I could, and like I put it like, look at this thing. So
let me show you.
You go first, Mel.
Let me show you this real quick. That's kind of how it goes. Is like we're all hanging out in the Airbnb, and he's like, "Oh, let me just show you this thing real quick. It's really cool." Well, do you have a die? Here, I've got a note card. I'll just show you how it works real quick. Okay, so I roll a die. This is what's going on and explain the rules. It's great.
I got it in a bar in Toronto when he came up, and he's like, and you have to see this. And he like pulls out the box and he like lifts it open. He's like, so this is what it looks like. And he's just going through it. And I was sold on the pitch, but but no, 1,000%. Like we are living proof of that. It was everywhere. It was like, you have to see this game.
Well, I think I had actually left the show. We were talking together at Proto TO, I believe. Was that no?
Unpub.
Unpub.
No,
Unpub.
Yeah. Proto TO was us hanging out and doing that later.
So so we were at Unpub, and I was super excited by it. And I don't remember if you gave me a prototype or no.
You asked, I said no.
Right. So what I ended up doing was on the road trip from Unpub, I had to go to another show, and I was going to stop at a local retailer out in Sheboygan, the game board, Lynn store, and so I was like, you know what, you have to see this idea, and like I made the game sitting at her kitchen table. And then we played and had a marvelous time. But like, I didn't have the real prototype. So it was just scribbled stuff on paper. And we had a blast. But and honestly, guys, here's the thing. Like when you first showed me this game, like there was this shiny golden nugget. Like this idea is just so brilliant and so wonderful. And it just creates such an experience around the table. There was someone who was doing one of the live plays, who said, for him, like, it's everything that I love about D&D without the stuff I don't necessarily love about it. And it's true, because it's not weighted down with rules and encumbrance and do I hit it? Like, that doesn't matter. It's just the joy of
telling the story,
telling the story, and honestly, like, my favorite thing, like, as much as I want to be the hero, as much as I want that 20, the best moments in the game are when you roll a 1 and you just tell everyone how horrible things go, how sideways everything goes, and it's amazing, right? So now you had been working on it for, you said, like, I think a year. How long was it before you were, like, actually ready to, like, start showing it off? Was Unpub the first place?
It wasn't the first. I think I might have taken it to. There's a local group, Break My Game, that we go to sometimes. Did I take it there? Did I take it to? I think I actually took it to the Unpub section of PAX Unplugged the previous year, because I always do that Unpub as well. Whenever we go to PAX Unplugged, that might have been the first place where I took it to other folks, not just friends or family, but yeah, with others.
Cool. Well, and certainly, even from when I first saw it, the game has evolved, quite a bit. So let's talk about some of those changes, some of the additions, like, the journey of where it got. I think originally when I saw the game, just the GM was really guessing at the table at the time.
Yep.
Yes.
So, but anyway, like, let's talk about all the different stuff that's happened.
That was definitely one of the first things we had talked about. Someone just kind of describes what they do, and everyone tries to guess their role. And a lot of the times we hadn't really thought of the wandering GM and put rules around how you can and can't end a scenario. And so a lot of times scenarios would be, I think the first iteration, Dave, everybody took a stab at a scenario, almost like it almost wasn't cooperative.
Oh, I see.
In the sense of like a storytelling, it was just kind of like respond to the scenario, and like somebody could do one thing and somebody could do another thing, and sometimes they tie together and sometimes not. So it was more just like a pure guessing game that had story elements to it, rather than a storytelling game with guessing elements, I would say.
Yeah, that's interesting, because one of the first times I showed it, that was one of the questions at the table was like, oh, well, do I do the same adventure? Am I continuing the story, or like do I have my own thing? And it would have worked either way, but the fact that it has a narrative flow and you're building on each other's stories, I think that's kind of the magic. That's where the social glue comes together. So
Absolutely, yeah. One of the other smaller ones was originally players just drew one magic, item card and used it. And I think at one point even I took it the opposite direction and said players had a hand of 5 cards. And I found that to be too many cards. Like it's too much to think about when you're also considering what character are you, what's the scenario, what are you rolling. Having to assess a lot of items ended up being too much. So I just stuck with the one for a long time, even when we played. Then I don't remember when we were just in development. I think we just said, let's try 2 items so that there's some choice there. That really stuck really well.
Oh, and the other thing I think that we talked about too was like, when do you choose your item? Do you choose it before the roll or after the roll? And I think at first it was before, and then we're like, but there's some people who like feel like, oh, they've wasted that item and now it's a bad roll. And like, they really wanted to use it for something epic. And like, you know what? We should give people the choice. So yeah.
And then I think the other biggest change was the Valor. Obviously, the Wandering GM was probably the biggest change. Having each person guess and then...
the Glory. Yeah.
Glory. I'm sorry. Glory. Yeah. And that was probably the biggest change. But that, I think, made it a lot better. Because when I was mentioning the first iteration of the game, a lot of times what would happen is like the second person would roll a 20 and they would kind of end the scenario. And the third person would either have to just make up something completely, like either an extension of it or make up something completely random. It's like, well, the dragon's dead. Maybe I'll just go over here and see how high I can jump with my wand of pogoing or something. So we having the Wandering GM and saying you can't end the scenario until the very end really added like the full story to it.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I think, when we added, everyone's guessing in the same round and, there's just the GM getting us experience points, but everyone else is going for personal glory. I mean, in the end, personal glory it's an honor, but it's not really a thing. And but people like just that little reward of like being recognized for guessing well, like it matters, right? It just you just kind of it just makes you feel good and feel like you're really invested. I remember Denise has joined us too.
I remember specifically one unpub playtest. I want to say it was this year, and we were still we were trying out the glory mechanic, or maybe the one game we were having it didn't have it, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I know it's cooperative, but I want to win. Like, I want to win.
Right.
So, like, how can I win?" And so that was, I mean, a lot of players I think said that, and so it was really like, all right, we can just like put in this extra mechanic that shows how well you did overall, and you don't win, you just get to close the story, which a lot of people like too.
Yeah,
it's cooperative, but some people are more cooperative,
right? Like, but like I'm a spike, I want to win, like
Yeah, and then now you guys recently, and we haven't. I mean, this is kind of telling. We haven't actually announced it on the page yet, but there is going to be like another little mechanic coming in that's going to add some new tokens called inspiration or focus. I don't know. What do we think? Anyway, it's but what's great is like, sometimes you're in the flow of the story and you really want a different role than you just got. And then once per game, you're going to be able to spend this little token and then re-roll and then take your best roll. And I think that was that David or Travis, one of you came up with that, I think. And I thought that was really brilliant.
I will actually give a shout out to the Cardboard Herald at PAX Unplugged last year, who I was playing with him and 2 other buddies. And he was like, man, it would be so cool if I could just re-roll on this specific thing when I didn't roll what I wanted. It would just be nice to do it. And I don't know, we just tried it next round and it was fun. It was like, it's a small little tweak, but it creates a fun moment of like when do you use it, and it can change that round's experience of what you end up rolling. So that was my buddy Jack with the cardboard herald. That was actually his idea.
Very good. Thanks, Jack. Yeah. Oh, and hey, Fritz, good to see you out there.
Isn't there an item that lets you change your roll?
There are 2 items that enhance your roll.
Okay.
Oh no, you're talking about you're talking about the revisionist amulet.
Yeah,
where, like
you used that on one of our play tests.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was interesting because he had to explain his bad roll and then explain his new roll. And so will inspiration work like similar to that, or just a like, nope, I'm going to re-roll entirely?
Yep. And it's all about like, well, this is what happened, but then I used the thing to rewind time, and now here's what happened. which is a kind of fun story twist. Yeah. Denise says, if I could turn back time. And you're talking about like, even just like small changes that can make a big difference. The other thing that that got added was the transition cards, and we just unlocked those today. Now, obviously, when you randomly take adventures from the deck, they may or may not link up in a logical progression. And if the GM of the round, if they rolled really poorly and they don't wrap the adventure neatly in a little bow, there can be a little dissonance between like adventure to adventure. And it was fine the way it was. It was just like, okay, we're in a different time, doing different things. But just reading this little transition card and filling in the blank, almost like Mad Lib style, it helped connect the flow and make it feel like a real campaign and a little bit more holistic as a game. So yeah, that was another one. So I've got another question for you guys. So how does it feel to know that there's now a signature series of adventures being done by these absolute luminaries in the RPG world who, by the way, don't just love the game, but now are actively a contributor to the game. So we're talking about like Luke Gygax, Elisa Teague, Jason Miller, Vince Casso. Like there's a whole bunch of folks who are now contributing to the signature series. Like, what does that feel like for you guys?
Feels like we made the right decision working with you. I mean, again, that's another reason. Like, there's no way we would have been able to have those connections and get something that's as special as that, which I think is just a crazy thing that I've never seen a game do necessarily, where they get like people who are in the industry to have to actually create a piece of it and then sign their name to it. So we're ecstatic about that. When you told us that, I was like, I couldn't believe it. It was awesome.
Right.
Well, and all thanks to Elisa and Tommy Gofton, really, too, because they got so excited by the idea. They got swept up in the excitement of it. And they're like, well, how can we help? It's like, well, so here are some of the ideas I had. And they're like, well, yeah, let's help you get some of those things done. And man, if by the way, people, if you have not seen the playthrough that Tommy just did recently, and I'm going to get the link for the MegaCon playthrough that was done as well, because we had a star-studded celebrity panel up and playing, and it was amazing. And the link got buried, and I can't figure it out where it is right now, so I'm going to get Tommy to give it to me. But just watch some of these playthroughs because it's cool. I mean, we're going to have fun with it. But when you get people who are in cosplay and really are role players, I mean, it gets elevated. So it's pretty neat. All right. Man, so like other things that are going on. Well, of course, we've also got these amazing dice from Gatekeeper Games and Dice. John Rott, basically, we wanted to work together for a long time, and we talked about working on the spill and things like that, and it wasn't quite right then. Well, I mean, specialty dice, when you're talking about a role-playing game, man, you kind of have to. So I was like, well, what can we do that's really cool and special? And so he's like, well, I've got this new line I'm developing called Essence Dice, and essentially it's like these clear resin dice, and you inject the dice with this kind of flowy ink, and it's like swirls together in the clear casing. And depending on what colors you infuse and how much, it's like, and what angle you look at, it changes. But you get the essence of what the character is. And we're like, we can make these character class dice, and we'll put a little icon for each character class. I mean, obviously, we don't have the actual dice yet on the page. We've just got like kind of these mock-ups. The mock-ups look pretty cool. But if you look at the bottom and you see that D6 that's actually an existing D6, you can really see the detail. And man, I cannot wait to get a set of those.
They look phenomenal. They look phenomenal.
They look really awesome.
All right. Well, let's see. Cam is also, he's like, those dice look so cool. Denise's, yep. Denise, bribes and blackmail. Oh,
how to get all those people to play.
Oh, that is correct. Yes. Bribes and blackmail. That's exactly right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I was lost. Thanks, Mel.
I got no pay attention going on. I think.
Oh, so now Fritz has asked an interesting question here. Are we going to be playing the sci-fi adventure expansion? Well,
I don't know if it's playing or planning, but either way.
Planning is what we're doing. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing, this is an amazing game. And I mean, if it does well, if people love it, then anything that makes a great RPG makes a great RPG party game. So that's one of the things that we're really excited about for the future of the game too. Whether it's actual IPs or just different worlds to play in, I think there's a lot of things we can do. So I am very excited.
That's definitely a conversation that I've seen come up, is people being like, oh, this would be fun in this kind of scenario or this.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Like, let's start with where we're at. But
yeah,
I like that. I like.
All right. So I think, guys, did you have any other questions, or do you want to jump into gameplay? Or
well, don't you have things to show people, or are you going to say that for the end?
No. What am I showing? No, I don't have anything to show.
Did you have the big things you were showing us earlier, the little pictures and stuff?
Oh yeah, well that'd be part of the game.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Then yes, let's get into the game.
That's part of the game.
Let's do it.
All right. So everyone has their D20 handy. Yes. Everyone is good. Okay. Cool. Well, then, ladies and gentlemen, let's get busy. And audience members, this is a full participation game. We expect you to be guessing along with us. So here we go. I'm going to now do, is this the screen I want? Let's see. That'll do for now. Okay. All right. So we are ready to play Adventure Party, the role-playing party game. And what a star-studded cast we have. So next up, now normally when you are playing the game, everyone has their own character screen. Now, we're all in remote places. Not all of us have screens. In fact, the only ones I have currently, because I sent all mine to various content producers, I have the ones that we put in the free RPG kit, which feature Cutthroat Caverns art, which is not actual art. So we won't be using those.
Does everyone know?
Wait, hold on. Is actual art, but not the art of the game.
But it's not art of the game.
Yeah.
Does people not in the know about Free RPG Day?
Fair point. You can play Adventure Party on the 24th, right? 24th is Free RPG Day, and ask your local store if they are running Free RPG Day, because you can go, we have a demo kit in there for 3 to 6 players, and you can go and play and really get a taste of this game. So I encourage you to do so.
I'll be demoing it at in DC at my favorite local gaming store on that.
Oh, day. Nice. Excellent. Well, I was all set to go to like 1 or 2 game stores and do it, and then they moved the date, and I'll be at Origins. So, but we will playing at Origins too, so you can join us for that.
It at Origins for sure.
Yeah. All right, but we are going to get into it now. So I tell you what, let's who would like, we're going to roll off for who's going to be our first GM. How about that? So everyone roll your die. 17.
16.
4.
15.
Booyah, that's me. Okay.
Nicole is in the chat. Hello to Nicole.
Hey, Nicole, how you doing? Good to see you. All right. So as GM, I'm going to kick things off, and I'm going to read our first adventure hook here. Welcome to Pickpocket Row, everybody. To prove yourself worthy for the next mission, the Thieves Guild Master wants to be assured you're up to the task. Your test is to select a mark walking through the bazaar and steal an item of value from them without getting caught. So go ahead and describe your mark and the item you hope to steal. Then roll and describe what happens. Now, using an item is optional in this. So we'll go around the table first and announce, what characters we're playing. And it's important to know that if at least half of our group here, if we gain 3 more experience points, we'll get an extra 5 XP for the party. So that's kind of cool. By the way, if you want item cards and you don't have them, I can give you a selection. So you just let me know, and I'll put those up on the screen. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's see, David. We're going to start with you. So, what character class are you?
So I'm actually playing my favorite class, the Necromancer.
Nice.
I do have my prototype with me. And so I'm a tiefling necromancer, kind of dark, mysterious, keeps to herself, and doesn't mind, getting her hands dirty a little bit.
All right. And so do we have a name, or we're just going character class?
Oh.
I'm going name, just so you know. I'm going to set that bar. So I have name and character class already. I'm not even sure
he probably
if it's a
already
character
made
class
a quick
in
backstory
there.
in his head.
But we're here.
2 to 5 pages, not a big deal.
While I was being quiet, that's what I was doing. Just so you know, on the side, I had my laptop going. Yeah.
I'll be a Burrell the Necromancer.
Burrell.
Yes.
All right. Cool. Well, so let's describe your mark and what you hope to steal.
Okay. So I've kind of moved into the shadows of the market. I know I gather a lot of attention myself, being a tiefling of demonic heritage. So I'll stand in the shadows, and I kind of notice, similar to this picture here, some nobles with a couple fat purses filled with coins hanging off their belt. And they're in deep conversation, so I feel like that's my mark. All right, so let me see. All right, so what I do is I have this little boned skull from an animal hanging around my neck, and it's where the source, it's kind of my my magic source for my dark arcane arts. And what I do is I mutter a little arcane message under my breath, and out from the alleyway, I summon a skeleton. And I summon a skeleton, and I kind of send him out in the middle of the marketplace to where he can kind of get some attention and cause a stir. And he does. And I kind of go around to the side while the skeleton is getting the stir. Guards immediately rush over, take it out with ease. And I go up behind the guy, and I try and grab at the coin purse. And I'm able to get a few coins out of it. But I get no attention drawn to me. I grab a small handful of coins, dropping a few along the way as I, quickly rush back to the shadows, unseen.
Okay, so as the guest master, I do get a clarifying question.
To remind everyone kind of watching, if they haven't really been, that a 1 is like a resounding failure without anybody dying. A 20 is a resounding success without killing anyone. A 10 is like just passed. Like You just passed your roll. You just succeeded. So if anyone is guessing in the chat, that's
and
our
9 just barely failing. So thank you, Mel.
And
That's
just for those of you playing along at home.
all right. So my clarifying question is, I mean, you got a few coins. You didn't even get like the full pouch, right? Do you feel like the Thieves Guild Master is going to let you, actually go on this next mission? Are they going to like say, you know what, you can bring them, but use them as ballast? I mean, what do you think their reaction is going to be to that particular?
Their reaction will be probably that's all you stole. My retort will be, well, I wasn't caught.
Fair point. Okay, so everyone, go ahead and set your d20s in secret to what you think. And I know we've got a couple people who have come in with some guesses in the audience as well. Now, as the GM, the guest master, only my guess is actually going to be experience for the party, but everyone else is going to be going for personal glory, and that'll factor into the end game. So I've got... I keep on going back and forth. Okay. I'm locked in. Everyone else, signify that you are locked in by thumbs up. Okay, we are ready. So I think, given the fact that you didn't get caught, you did successfully steal something. It just wasn't a lot. At first I was with Eric, and he said 12. Cassandra was down at an 11. Cam's up to a 13. I wanted to say 12, but I moved it to 13. Is it 13?
No.
Oh, no. What was it? What?
It is 12.
12. Oh, well, that's good. Okay. 10.
I'm on 10.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Oh, Mel, right on the button. Look at you.
Nice.
All right. So here's the thing. So for experience points, I was 1 away. That means we've got 4 experience points. So that's not bad to kick things off. Now, if you were 1 away, you get 1 glory, and if you're dead on, you get 2 glory. So you can kind of keep score for yourself as well. Okay. All right. So hopefully at home you're also recording your personal glory. Nicole,
next person?
What's that?
Do you want me to pick the next person?
Oh, well, no, I think it's just going to go. It's going to go right
down.
down. So yeah. So David, you are. Oh no, right. So no, Jonathan, you're up, and David, you're guest master.
Okay. So I'm gonna roll. And I'll tell you what
Well,
we're getting.
First of all, who are you?
No, because it is all part and parcel. All together.
So sorry, John.
That's okay. Thrognor, barbarian from the northern wastes, is tired of this thief's game. Already, the marketplace is too crowded, the people too loud, and those wealthy fools over there flaunting their power as if it means anything to the might of Thrognor. But Thrognor understands there is one way to a man's wallet, and that's through beer. Looking towards those marks that the poor, unfortunate, weak mage of some kind, Thrognor never fully understood what magical types they were. It's all mages to him. To Thrognor. I'm talking in third person, to be correct. And so Thrognor walks through the crowd and looks at the weak, pathetic noble and says, Thrognor sees a mighty warrior in you. Clearly puffed up by such a compliment, false though it may be, by such a mighty Thrognor.
Thrognor helps this noble towards the tavern and lets the noble pay for all the drinks. Of course, Thrognor can drink this pathetic noble under the table, and after 4 drinks, the noble can barely string 2 sentences together, but the mighty Thrognor barely feels a buzz. As they sit and wobble in their chair, Thrognor finds a shiny amulet. Really, it looks to be a key to further treasure and gold. And with a mighty slap, Thrognor causes it to be dislodged from that pathetic noble's throat, falling into Thrognor's outstretched hand beneath them. Quietly, Thrognor puts it into his pouch and gives a mighty belch and says, "It was good drinking with such a mighty warrior." And as he leaves, the noble passes out, and Thrognor, puffed up, exits into the market and leaves into the shadows. As much shadows can contain the mighty Thrognor.
So that's like a 1. Clarifying question, yeah.
Yeah, let's see.
I mean,
you got it. What was... Is there going to be any issue with how you obtained that item when it comes to the Thieves Guild?
Oh, there is probably a witness or 2, but no one dares challenge the mighty Thrognor, at least to his face.
Good question.
All right.
Good question.
I am locked in.
For anyone else who doesn't know, the clarifying question can't ask a quantity.
Right. Is the dragon half dead? Is not fair. All right. I see we got a couple guesses coming in from the audience.
I got mine.
All right. So, panel, we're all set?
All right.
Thumbs up. Yep. Okay. So, GM, what do you got?
All right. I'm guessing a 17.
Really?
Ba, ba, ba-da.
Oh! Yay! Nice.
Wow. Nice job.
Good description.
Okay. Well, so 17 it was. I was actually with Cassandra. I actually said, and David, I actually said 19. I thought you'd like really
as well.
Yeah, really scored high.
I was waffling between 18 and 19, but yeah.
I tried to make the question sound more like, there were people who noticed it, but Thrognor has no care for such pathetic fools.
Yeah. That brought me down a little bit. From like the super high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I was actually thinking like, my question might have been, well, do we really think that key is going to lead anywhere? It's not really valuable in and of itself, like, that kind of thing.
Right.
But interesting. All right, cool. So Jonathan, next it's Travis.
All right, Travis, go ahead.
So who are you, Travis?
I am the mighty and divine Clarissa the cleric. So as the party is picking their marks, I see the mighty Throgdor, and I see him motion the noble into the bar to have a drink. As someone who is of the divine arts, I choose not to partake in those types of acts. So I must pick a different mark. So as I'm walking through and looking around the city, I see that there's a clear division of classes between the ultra rich and the suffering citizens. And so even though I know that this is not the type of task that I would normally partake in as someone who is of might and divinity, I realize that I must take from the rich, Robin Hood style, and give to the poor. So having been trained in some special mystical arts, I grab my force of mind. I channel my inner force of mind power. And my intention is to use that to identify an item in a pocket and lift it out with that and bring it to myself. So I'm going to roll. And that was my magic item, was the force of mind. As I'm walking through, I identify somebody who I can tell has the biggest, fattest George Costanza wallet in his back pocket. And or in this case, a little tin. And I can tell that it's heavy because it's weighing his pocket down. So I said, that's the one I want right there. So I channel my inner force of mind, and I'm able to lift out the container and bring it to myself. And as I'm standing there thinking about all of the suffering citizens that I'm going to help, I open it up and realize it's nothing more than his rock collection, which I have no idea that it holds any value. And so, although I was able to grab the tin, I realized that I don't know how the Thieves Guild is going to handle my result.
Clarifying question, Jonathan.
Yeah, I know. I gotta think of one. Thrognor's question. Did anyone witness your pathetic attempt? And did they laugh at you?
No one witnessed my pathetic attempt because I was able to get ahead of the person, and I was standing sort of on the side, upright, looking mighty and divine, like a protector of the city. But I was able to concentrate using only my mind and lift it out. So there were no witnesses.
Rock's very protected.
All right, I'm locked in. By the way, Denise says that the key that you found might have been a hotel key. So great treasure indeed.
Okay. I am going to say 5.
Oh, dude, really?
Oh. Maybe I didn't do a great job of no. So it was a 10.
Yes, that's what I got.
See, 10 for me, just to let you know, would have been you got something. You got rocks.
I did get something.
Rocks.
He got a thing.
He was
without being noticed.
I did a thing. I got a thing. So yes, it was a 10.
Okay, so I unfortunately, Thrognor perhaps a bit more buzzed than Thrognor remembered.
Okay, so unfortunately, 5 minus 5 is nil.
Yeah, sorry.
So there will be no
glory.
XP, but lots of people got personal glory. I got 2. I see Eric got 2. Cassandra got 2. Who else got?
I got 1.
You got 1. You got 1. Okay, great. Nice. And Cam's got rocks.
Switch chairs real quick.
Good job, Cam. All right.
Comfy chair.
All right, so Mel.
Here we are. Okay.
Introduce yourself.
Switch chairs real quick because I was in an uncomfortable one and I was brought a comfortable one. Travis, I have done a similar thing when doing the scenario and playing a paladin. Steal from the rich and give to the poor situation. It's the only way to go.
It's the only way to go.
All right. Well, I am Eloise the druid, and for this situation, what I'm actually going to attempt to steal here is, you see, there's someone in the city who is doing something I personally detest, and they are purveyors of magical creatures,
Oh.
and they have them caged. And I personally want to steal them and release them because that's wrong. They should be in the wild.
Yeah.
So obviously you can't just like let something like that stand. So I go to this stall, this in the market where there are these like cages set up with these little animals. And I'm able to do a bit of distraction, a bit of like, oh, let me see that one. Oh, let me see that one. I've got a pretty good perception of what's going on around me, so I can like see how all the locks work, how I can see how it happens. And I am able to just, do a little bit here and a little bit here without him noticing, to loosen the cages a little bit, loosen the locks a little bit. And I want to be able to free more animals, but he is far too invested in talking to me. And so I'm only able to get out a few animals, but I will, regardless of the Thieves Guild, come back and make this happen again.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right, let me think. How long will it take him to notice that something has happened? In other words, how long until the gig is up?
Not immediately, but he will definitely notice, but a few will have been able to escape by that point.
Okay.
Okay. I'm lost. All right. Before we got some audience guesses coming in. I see Eric's in. Anyone else? Okay. Cassandra's locked in. Everyone else, thumbs up. Are we locked? Okay. Travis, what do you think?
It was definitely a success. Got a few out. Had a little bit of time to escape. That's sort of like a middle type of answer. So I guessed 14.
Ooh, I maybe oversold my success a little bit. That was a 12.
Oh, very close. All right, so
oversold it a little bit. Maybe I should have gotten that window a little bit smaller.
Okay, so that was a difference of 2, right?
3.
So we get
difference of 2.
No,
Experience,
14.
3 3 experience. Right.
14 to 12.
All right, cool.
One glory for Thrognor.
I guessed an 11.
Ooh.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's one for me.
But Jonathan and Curt both get 1.
Yep. And other folks out in the viewing audience.
David, what'd you guess?
I said 14, just like Travis.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I oversold it a little bit.
Totally cool. All right. That means that I am up, and that's going to close out Pickpocket Row. So I'll be playing Mercurial the Thief.
Shocked. I'm sorry. Shocked. Everyone here is shocked. Absolutely, completely and utterly shocked. This is my shocked face.
Yeah. Okay. So listen, I know that items are optional this encounter. I have an option between the armlet of blasting that will just kind of throw a big force wall out at someone, and I've got the bow of 100 arrows. So here's what I'm going to do. You guys have been very, very cute. And I'm sure the Thieves Guild is going to be very, very impressed with what you've done. But look, this is what I do for a living, okay? So I've got to do something special. Now, I have chosen a very refined lady, out amidst with her bodyguard entourage. And she has this amazing silver comb in her hair. That is the target. Now, I'm going to be using the bow of 100 arrows to do a number of things. I am going to send out a hail of arrows that are going to completely distract the entire entourage. They're going to be trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And one of those arrows is going to pick that comb out of her hair and nail it against a wall, and I'll go pick it up later. Now, so I'm in a secreted place, so they can't necessarily detect where the firing has come from. And I loose the arrow. It soars dead out and splits. You see like the arrow just like sunder itself into like 100 different parts. All of a sudden, the entourage is being hailed with arrows. The arms are like, they're raising swords. They're like, we're under attack. They're like, trying to grab the woman. Now, already arrows are hitting the ground. They're like going, through people's pants and like nailing them kind of like in place. And sure enough, one arrow clips the silver comb and sends it out of her hair and lodges it right into the wall just below the roof line. She's being like hurried away. They're under attack. They have no idea that I'm simply pilfering a comb, but they are looking for some kind of an assailant, and there's none to be found. Now, the only slight difficulty is that it did lodge itself a little bit higher than I had planned. So when I go back later, I'm going to have to finagle my way up a little bit without, being noticed, but I don't expect that's going to be a problem. I'll wait for the right time. But that's what happens. Clarifying question, Mel.
Okay. And so you don't think she felt anything in her hair amiss because of all the chaos going on around her?
Basically, as the arrow hit and took the comb off, yeah, her hair came down, but at the same time, she was being pulled by her guardsmen to safety. So, like, there was a lot of tussling going on. So she didn't even think, about a comb for sure. Cam's got to run. Thanks so much for joining us, and he wishes us good luck on the Brave Quest, everyone. Thanks, Cam. All right, so we're all ready? Thumbs up, yes? Eric's all set?
Right. Yes. All right. I think you got a 16.
Wow, really? Did I undersell it?
It was the
19, I said.
Dang it. Oh, I was guessing higher. I guess higher, and then at the end I guess lower. I pulled me down.
Thrognor continues to get glory.
All right. So you guessed 16, so that's 3 away, so we got 2 out of that.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like Denise Rabideau, yes, you nailed it. 19 is correct.
Okay, so it was like it was at the end. You like waffled the it was up higher and it wasn't as easy and
sure, yeah. But
I went from 20 to 18 at that point in time. I was a 20 description all the way to your question. I'm like, I'll just tweak it down just a little bit.
Yeah.
I was in the same spot. I was like, okay, it wasn't perfect, so
yeah. I was just normally I'm better at guessing you, Curt.
Okay. All right. Well, all right, everyone. So it is time for us to go ahead and roll a wandering GM because we're going to do one more adventure before we close.
15.
Also 15.
One, not me.
Travis, did you say?
Sorry, I was on mute. I had a 13.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
I feel like a roll
again.
Dave, roll
again. All right.
11.
8.
There it is.
You got it.
All right, Jonathan, you are the GM, so you are going to get a chance to read the next adventure.
Our mission has led to this moment. A final conflict with powerful magic person. Thrognor never can tell difference. It'd only end in one way. Death of the sorcerer by my hands or someone else's. Our demise. Ha! Thrognor laugh at our demise. We have defeated the magician's minions, and without them, he suddenly seems all too frail as a magician. However, we are not foolish enough to believe him weak. We know he is weak. And he has a way of infiltrating minds and forcing heroes to turn against one another in combat like a coward. What do you do?
Oh,
God
Travis.
Mage.
What do you do?
Oh man. Let's see. Can we come back to me? Can I skip?
No, you can't skip. But would you like one of these two items?
I have an item in mind actually.
Oh, okay.
Let's see if it works. Let me just think of how I want to do this as Clarissa the cleric. Okay, so standing before the cleric, listening to Throgdor just chant all of his boisterous chants, I start to feel what we have been, what the scenario sort of presented, where the sorcerer is starting to sort of infiltrate in my mind. So I start channeling my divine powers to try and block the infiltration. So let me see. Let me roll. As I'm there, I'm starting to sort of feel like I'm not winning the fight. The sorcerer is very powerful, or he has some sort of ward that protects him from my defensive abilities. He starts to lift me up with his power, all the while making it very hard for me to use my item, which is my crown of command, that allows me to give one simple command that the target must obey. So as I do that, he's lifting me up, and I'm trying to get him to release me. So I am trying to say the words, "Let me go," but I can't get the words quite out, and he continues to lift me up. And from there, he takes me and sort of throws me up against the walls of the let's see where we're at, walls of the cave that it looks like we're in. And so I am injured, but I'm not sort of out of the game, but I'm out of the immediate vicinity to be able to help.
If Throgner, question. Are you hurt or are you injured?
Good question. I wish I played more D&D so I knew the answer to this question.
No. That's a sports joke. That's a sports joke.
Okay.
That's a sports joke. It's like,
okay.
Are you hurt and could you go back and play, or are you injured and we're taking you out of the game? Like that's.
I am hurt, but not immediately able to get back up right at this moment and charge back in.
Okay.
Okay.
I got my guess.
That changes mine a little bit. All right. I'm locked in.
I'm barely certain Denise wants Thrognor to kiss the boo-boo.
And get back in there.
All right. I have a 6.
Perfect. That's exactly what it was. 6.
Oh, wow.
Redemption for the last one. Sorry.
Well done.
Really good.
I guessed 4. I was right along with Eric on this one, but Cassandra, well done. What'd you get to Mel?
Also a 6.
Also 6. Nice job.
Yeah. Had you answered injured, it would have gone lower. But I'm hurt. Okay. Let's up it up a little bit.
Okay.
That's what happens.
Right. Mel, do you want any item cards?
What do you got?
I have the the bands of binding, which are magical shackles that will like tie them up. And then I've got the boots of stomping, which they stompy.
Boots are made for. One of these days, these boots are gonna stomp all over you.
Yes, they will.
You ready, Boots?
I think I'll use some boots. Cool. So I, as a druid, I'm coming in here and I'm like, okay, how can I help this situation? How can I distract this sorcerer? How can I make them really just not be able to focus enough to target our party and turn us against each other? And so I have these boots on, these just boots of stomping. Now, when I shapeshift as a druid, those bonuses go with me. So those boots of stomping are on me, whatever I am. So I wild shape into a bear, and now I'm a bear with boots of stomping. And I go over and I charge at the sorcerer. Full bear, full charge. And I'm like, okay. And I am able, not quite the first claw or the second claw, but like one of those back kicks. I kind of get at him and he stumbles back a little bit and breaks whatever concentration he's trying to do. And so he's not able to really like pay attention, but he's gonna come back from it. But this bear just kind of kicked him pretty good. So he was like, that was not fun. Thanks. So
Dogner very disappointed. Dogner did not see bear in the city. Where was this in the city?
Bears don't belong in cities.
All right, clarifying question.
Is the sorcerer hurt or injured?
Very much hurt. He's hurt. Not like super significantly hurt, but a good bit hurt.
Okay.
All right. I think I'm good. Cassandra's in.
We good or waiting on me?
I think we're all set.
We're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I went with a 15.
15.
Oh, I changed it. I went with a 16. All right. Oh, 13 for Jonathan. All right. But so
What's that, Dave?
17.
Okay.
17. Yep. All right. So you got it exact?
Yeah,
Yep.
you did.
There you go. That's another 5. Sweet. Okay.
We got the 5 experience for the last scenario, right?
Oh, we did.
No,
So
I didn't get any. So there's
But only
you have
3
to get.
people had
only 3 had to get.
Oh, nice. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yep. So I think we yeah.
That 5 really Thrognor's 5. Just saying.
All right. So it's up to Mercurial. So I'm gonna roll first. Okay. So Mercurial is not one who really enjoys a frontal assault. So my plan is to actually start slipping behind if I can. And all of a sudden I find myself reaching for the paladin's belt, and I take from the paladin the hammer of smashiness.
No.
And without being able to control my own actions, I am swinging it, and I am trying to land it directly in their face. And it swings right around, and I connect right on the chest and knock them back and out of position. And and I keep going. I just turn on the party in general.
Ooh.
Mm.
Clarifying question.
No, that's
Listen,
good.
I really want to just say the same question. Because hurt or injured is a good question. I'm not going to say the same question. I have to think of a different question.
Yeah.
Jonathan, we can't all copy.
No, copy me. I'm fine. I'm awesome. I know.
Throgdor love. Impression.
Throgdor understand.
Okay,
Throgdor
Denise,
understand.
hold on.
Imitation is
Denise has
flattery.
Denise has a clarifying question. Denise, go ahead. Oh no, it says ask Mel. I thought it said ask
he
me.
wants me to ask, is he hurt or injured?
Throgdor understand completely that imitation is most sincerest form of flattery.
You could ask what the paladin's reaction is, even.
Well, you gave that to me too.
Oh, for God's sakes!
I mean, all right. Is the paladin able to get back up after he's been knocked out of position?
Yeah. I mean, basically, probably loses their wind for a round, right? You know, they get knocked back. They're, you know, if they were planning an attack right now, they're probably going to have to, you know, miss this round. But you know, they're going to be able to face off. The problem is that I'm now standing between you and the bad guy.
See, it's all right. Is everyone ready?
Everyone's locked. Okay, I see
Okay.
we got Eric's
All right.
and Cassandra's out there. Okay.
All right. Did you get a 2?
I did not get a 2.
Is it a 1?
I got a 5.
Ooh.
5. That's
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, there you go, Jonathan.
4.
Like
Cassandra's really
Curt or
close too.
something.
Yep.
All right.
More glory for Throgdor.
All right. So we got 2 XP for that. And Cassandra got a glory. All right.
All right. We ready for Burrell?
Yep.
Morel.
All right. Burrell quickly assesses the situation and without thinking notices one of the a minion standing. What was the thief's name? Mysterio? No,
Mercurial.
Mercurial. So Mercurial grabs the hammer, and as soon as Burrell sees the Mercurial kind of look with like this violent, look in his eyes at us as friends, with that snaps her fingers, clutches the bone skull on her chest, and there's a corpse on the ground between Mercurial and the sorcerer, and she explodes it, and shards of bones spray everywhere. Mercurial kind of falls to the ground, a little dazed. The sorcerer, just winces in pain as the bone shards kind of like shoot through his robes. And our druid, the bear, does wince in pain as well. But there's a corpse explosion that does hit the group.
So my biggest question is, what is the reaction of this powerful sorcerer?
Well, Mercurial kind of like shakes his head a little bit and notices that the infiltration has kind of been disrupted a little bit, and the sorcerer, not quite fallen to the ground, kind of like gets a little frustrated and realizes he'd lost some of his concentration. And you see a few trickles of blood parts on the where the bone shards shot through him and through the robe.
Always go with your first instinct. That's what I've learned. Okay, here we go. All right, I see Denise has entered. Eric, Cassandra, everyone is ready. I am also ready. Everyone else good?
All right.
All right.
Shiny dice does not show as well on here, but it is an 18.
We have
Oh.
very, very different understandings. Of
Wow.
what these numbers are.
Yeah. I mean, I guessed a 16.
16.
I had 14.
I had 14 also, Jonathan.
Yeah.
It
wow.
was you hit the rest of the party.
Yes, that's
Brought
what
it down.
threw me.
that's
Yeah.
what threw me too. I dropped
That
it down
brought it
because
down for me because you hit us too.
Oh, it was meant to also knock to bring Mercurial back to.
Oh, I see. Right.
But
It was
that's
intentional.
that's why it was a success
Right.
for me. But that's interesting. Again, just interesting. The thing I love is you get to see different people's idea of what these all things mean.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right, Jonathan.
And he
You're
is
here
down,
to bring it home.
distracted, and ready to be attacked.
Throgdord.
Yeah. Thrognor, though, has been watching everyone kind of bemusedly. All this effort for puny, wimpy mage. Puh. However, as Throgdor gets angrier and feels the burning rage inside, suddenly the mage is everywhere.
Oh dear.
Everywhere, and Thrognor must throttle all of them. Thrognor, giant club in hand, starts swinging almost recklessly back and forth, bashing every single mage until at one point in time bashes a mage and a filter falls from Throgdor's eyes, and the one mage that Throgdor would like to hit is standing. And around Throgdor lies the moaning of his allies.
Never should have brought him along.
Denise says, way to undersell that.
I think she was talking about Dave, but even
Oh,
still,
I thought she was just being cheeky.
it applies for both. I'm pretty sure. Amazing. Still good though. Ooh.
Clarifying question. Do you need
All
one?
right. Was everyone hit also including the mage?
No, the mage was not hit, but everyone else wasn't necessarily clobbered in the way that Thrognor thought they were.
Oh.
I got you, Denise.
All right.
What? Damn you. That's a terrible answer. All right, I'm locked.
Okay, everyone ready?
Yep.
All right. Yep. I said let's show well here. 3.
Ba, ba, ba-na.
4. Oh, all right. I
3.
was one away.
I was more than that. I had an 8.
All right.
Wow.
But that's 4 experience points, so that's pretty good. All right.
Because we have it's whoever finishes the adventure, right? So I was like, I can't actually succeed and hit the mage.
Oh,
but
right. Okay. Well, so let's just tally our various glory points here. I've got 5.
4.
I had
How does
3.
Throgdor only have 4?
Throgdor thinks everyone else has a very different opinion on the numbers.
All right. So David, what did you say you had?
3.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Glory.
there are 2 at
First-
5.
Personal glories.
Okay. Well, Mel, do you want to take it? Because I've already told it up. I'll tell you what our level is on the Scroll of Heroes, and then you, since we
Okay.
share this honor, can be the bard that tells us our tale that we'll be remembered by.
All right.
So here's what I'll say though. We did 2 adventures. We scored 36 points.
Wow.
And that puts us in the exceptional category,
Oh,
people. Few others have the success and superiority that we possess. So please tell us the bard's tale of how we'll be remembered.
No one else has Thrognor.
The stories spread far from our base village where we live of our cunning, our skill, and our ability that in the face of mind-bending magic powers that we don't fully understand, that we persevere and we continue fighting even when there are a million mages in front of us and we all get a little banged up for it, but we succeed at what we put our minds to. And they know that if you want just a big guy to drink you under the table or try to kill a million mages, you have Throgdor. In the back, and maybe is
Throgdor.
strongest mind you have
Nor.
figured out. And if you want your other people who are supporting cast members,
Definitely.
they come along too. So with all of that, people know that if they need an adventuring party to support them in their quest, they should call us.
Bard overcomplicated story. Mage underestimated Thrognor, and when veil was lifted, Thrognor just threw club at me.
Denise wants to know, where do I buy my Throgdor merchandise? That's great. Well, thanks so much for playing. Thanks for watching, everyone. You know, one of the things that I really enjoy about this game, and one of the things actually that I thought was kind of interesting when I was at GaryCon and I was playing with a bunch of people who were, you know, obviously pretty well versed in role playing. They were impressed with the game for a different reason. They thought it was really cool as a training ground for DMs as well, because, you know, so often when we're playing D&D, you know, we're rolling dice and we either hit or we miss, and, you know, it's points. But this really helps you narrate what those roles can mean and how to describe them and how to have fun with them and lean into the adventure. And that's what they really loved about the game. And I had to echo that. I thought that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
That's a pretty good connection. Yeah, I like that. I don't even know if I'd ever thought about it from that perspective, but yeah, it really is a really good, like, teach someone how to role play and keeping it light.
Yeah.
I've had people say that the idea that they would like, oh, it would be really fun as like a pre-session.
Yeah.
Or like session where they set up their characters for the D&D campaign and then play around and play a setting of adventure party to get into that, like, this is my character, this is how my character would react to things or do things, and kind of build that story with the people you're playing with without having beforehand to get.
It's also a good backstory generator.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Hey, we did this thing. Do you remember that time when we did this thing? Oh, yeah. Well, because you played Adventure Party and did a quick little group backstory. It gives you another way to not do. It's a side quest. Yeah. No, but what it is actually, to be fair, it's because I know a lot of the I mean, the joke about you all meet in a tavern, right?
Yeah.
Is that how do you get a disparate group of people together? And it's always better to start kind of past that point where you already have some history. And this is a fun kind of light way to build that history with each other.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea too. Yeah. Awesome. Hey, well, everyone, thank you so much for taking the time. David and Travis, thanks for making a really cool game, man.
Thanks for having us. You've been awesome.
Yeah. So if you've watched, either now or while it's on YouTube and things, if this sounded like fun, by all means, go over to Kickstarter, give us a back. If you want the amazing shinies of the dice,
Get the dice.
go get that. And to be fair, you were talking about playing as your own characters. You actually can, if you've got character art, we'll create a custom screen just for you and your character. It's a high level tier because it's all hand worked, but yeah, we'll absolutely do it. They'll be professionally printed and it'll look really cool, just for you and your party. So anyway, with that, guys, have a great night, everyone, and thanks again for watching.
Go back the game. Throgdor demands it. He's got a club.
He does have a club. All right. So long, everybody.
Bye.